Hi everyone, I'm Michael Tyson. This is Mobile Growth Podcast where we discuss how to launch, grow, and successfully monetize mobile apps. We invite industry experts to learn everything from product to user acquisition and monetization strategies. And today our guest is Lorenzo Rossi. Lorenzo is a mobile marketing veteran with more than 10 years of experience in scaling marketing operations for multi-billion-dollar companies. He worked with companies like Zalando. It's a public e-commerce company with very large mobile app. Lovo, it's a popular dating app with more than 50 million installs on Google Play alone. Free to Move, it's a car rental solution with presence in more than 170 countries, and many more. Now Lorenzo is the co-founder of Replug. It's an award-winning European app growth consulting agency. Hi Lorenzo, thanks so much for joining us today. And my first question, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about yourself and specifically Replug. What is Replug? What do you do?
So first of all, hello everyone. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much for inviting me. Very happy to be your guest in this video podcast. Thanks for the introduction as well. Replug, what is Replug? It's a mobile marketing agency. We like to say that we help companies navigate the app marketing mess because it's becoming a big mess lately, and we do 360 degrees app marketing activities, from performance marketing, so user acquisition, user retention, app store optimization. We also have a fantastic creative department to help our partners create the perfect design, and also we do consulting for growth. We do consulting for MarTech infrastructure. We help companies understand what's important and what they need to do when it comes to app growth.
Got it. And I know that you have been focusing a lot on helping companies, mobile apps specifically, build the onboarding flow. And I think this is a very interesting topic for most of our clients, our listeners. Could you tell me a little bit about mobile app onboarding, and probably we can start why is it even important? Why do you even need to have an onboarding in your app?
I mean, it's $1 million question, right? It's how much time do we have? Because we could talk for hours about this topic.
Yeah.
First of all, I think you don't need a mobile onboarding, but it's good to have a mobile onboarding, right? So you can do whatever you want with your app. You can create an app, put it on the store without onboarding, and it probably will get downloads, and some of the people will use it. But I don't know if you're familiar with the saying, first impression lasts. Well, the onboarding is kind of the first impression that the user have of your app. So you should ask yourself, what are those users thinking about my app during the first few seconds after the download? And this is just a general explanation of how the onboarding can be important for a mobile app. Of course, the benefits are many and different, and we like to, for example, divide them in categories: marketing benefits, product benefits. For example, you can use the onboarding to welcome your user in the app and thank them for downloading it, because the competition is fierce these days, right? There are many options for every kind of application of mobile app. So already the fact that the user chose you, it's something that you should say thank for it, right? So this is just one of the many benefits. Another one could be the explanation of the app. So during the onboarding process, you can definitely explain what are the unique selling points of your app, what are the main features, what are the things that the user need to do, right? During the onboarding phase, you can start, or you need to start, of course, asking for permissions, because now there is all these privacy importance. Like you need to request permission to do everything. You need to request permission to track the IDFAs. You need to request permission to track location for all the things. Like there is a pop-up from Apple for Android, and the user need to accept it. So, of course, as I was mentioning at the beginning, if the user downloads the app and there is no onboarding, you can just show this permission one after the other one, permission request one after the other one, and the result could be good, could be not good. We don't know. If instead we have a nice onboarding organized where we welcome the user, we start requesting permission in an organized way, explaining the reason and whatsoever, like it's a different feeling for the user. And probably, I mean, we have seen with many partners that the results are better in terms of opt-in rates, in terms of acceptance rates, also retention.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. I think this is super interesting. So one of the critical things app developers and app marketers need to do during the onboarding is, especially specifically if we're talking about Apple's platform, they need to get this permission to track, to be able to attribute this user to marketing campaigns accurately. And it's like a system prompt from Apple, but it's kind of hard for end users to understand what is it for, right? It's kind of, it sounds like the Apple be surveilling your activities and stuff like that. So probably what you need to do there is to kind of provide some explanation, right, during the onboarding, like why do we need this tracking permission?
Yeah, I mean, again, there are always different ways to do things. And we see many app developers that just show this prompt, this system prompt from Apple right after the download. So the user download the app, the first thing that you see is the prompt that say, hey, do you want this app to track you across different websites and know whatever you do? So this is a bit scary, right? So
yeah, exactly. Sometimes, when I see it the first time, I know what it is, but when I see it, I think like, no, I don't want you to track me. Then I kind of think, actually, it's not a bad thing.
Exactly. So you can do that, but is it efficient? Maybe not. We tried it with some partners. Like it's better if you, for example, add a pre-authorization screen, so a pre-page before to show the prompt where you say, hey, we are going to request permission to track you. We are going to request permission to know your IDFA. We do that for this reason. Maybe it's to offer you a better user experience, to offer you better offer, this kind of thing. So we create a bit of awareness. There are some interesting cases that I remember. One is from Adidas Fantastic. They even explain what is an IDFA, right? And this is something that we know. We work in the industry. You know what does it mean, IDFA? But probably my brother, my mother, people that are not in the industry, they don't know. So if you create a bit of awareness, maybe your ATT acceptance rates will increase. The rate will increase. And some app developers are kind of saying, why is that important? Like, what do you care about having data for iOS people? It's crucial because like it's increasing the amount of data that you have about your users. You can do better analysis, you can do retention analysis, you can do cohort analysis, right? Because otherwise you need to rely on scan, and of course the amount of data is limited. But I guess this is a topic for another time.
Yeah, and I have a question here actually. So a developer might not understand, let's say, that the marketer needs this information, this data. And the developer is the one who is kind of implementing the onboarding. So who is actually in charge of the onboarding flow? Because it's like it needs to involve a little bit of marketing, a little bit of like development product. Who is ultimately in charge of the onboarding?
Well, theoretically, the product team is the team that needs to be in charge, because the onboarding is, as I was mentioning at the beginning, is the first thing that the users see of the app. So it's part of the user experience, and the product team knows about the user experience, knows about the product, knows about the feature that needs to be explained. In my personal opinion, I don't believe that this is enough. So the product team doesn't have all the, I want to say, business information that the marketing team has, right? Because the product team might not be aware of the importance of the ATT, or what kind of permission do we need to request first, or what kind of informations do we need to get of the user, because during the user onboarding, you can ask the user to give you many informations about them, right? So at the end of the day, the onboarding process needs to be a common effort. Product team in cooperation with the marketing team, so that all the aspects are taken care.
That makes a lot of sense. And what should be like the KPIs? Do you have any specific KPIs or like recommended level, I don't know, of users who completed onboarding, or what it should be?
So onboarding, again, in my opinion, is a very complex thing. It's long, can be short, but in any case, with the onboarding, we are trying to achieve different objectives. So I don't think there is a single KPI that we need to measure in order to understand the success of the onboarding. Of course, what you mentioned is interesting, like the onboarding completion. It's something that can tell you if it's interesting, if it's too long, if it's too short. So you should always track different pages of the onboarding, how many users arrive at the end. But through the onboarding, there are different phases, right? So there might be the registration process inside the onboarding. So one of the KPIs to track would be registration rate. There might be the subscription process, right? So you might want to see how many of the users that see the paywall in the onboarding then subscribe or start the trial. But also, I'm thinking about some acceptance rate for some permissions requests, like the push opt-in, for example. The opt-in rate for push notification. It's something that can tell you, it's a KPI that can tell you if the onboarding is well done or not. It really depends on the objective. It really depends on the parts. I believe that another thing that marketers and product team can analyze is the, I don't want to say retention rate, but maybe the people that delete, the uninstall rate, right? So because there are so many people that just download the app, they don't get it, and they delete it. So the onboarding in this case can help the users understand the app better, and eventually decrease the number of users that delete the app after the download.
Our clients are monetizing with subscriptions usually. So I guess the most interesting case is like offering a subscription. What do you think about like paywall? Should an app that monetizes with subscription show paywall during the onboarding? Is it like a prerequisite, or you can have an onboarding flow and don't offer subscription immediately, or like a trial immediately?
That's a solid question, right? So I can tell you my personal feeling, but it wouldn't be relevant, because I'm a big fan of try before buy, right? So I would tell you like this, that maybe it's better to show the users the app first. But this is something that it's really crucial to test, right? So it cannot be based on feelings, because usually putting the paywall in the onboarding helps conversion, right? So at the beginning of the onboarding, at the end of the onboarding, after the onboarding, this is something that needs to be tested, and you see what are your KPIs, like in terms of starting trial, in terms of subscriptions, because it really depends also on the product. Sometimes the product is so clear in terms of benefits, in terms of USPs, that the onboarding really needs to stay. That the paywall really needs to stay in the onboarding, because like if you need to pay for the app for the specific service that you know what it is, like the onboarding needs to be there. But in general, we always suggest our partners to test this kind of things, and with the paywall, like there are really many things to test, not only the position of the paywall in terms of onboarding before or after, but also what you write on the paywall, different type of offers, duration of the trial. So as I was mentioning before, you cannot only analyze one KPIs, because there are so many things to test that you really need to take in consideration different aspects.
And what do you think about using a referral program in mobile app, and maybe specifically for apps monetizing with subscriptions?
Well, it is something that what we see with our partner is that this kind of topic is often overlooked. What do I mean? Like, people don't understand the importance of referral programs, because as an app, you have a certain amount of users, and amongst those users, you will always have some of them, a group of them that love your product, and that they would do anything for you. So those users are the one that can really be promoters for your service, for your app. So it's what we always suggest to our partners is to identify those users and ask them to refer friends, family, to promote your app. And the answer is that they do it. Like, they do it. Often they do it for free, but if you offer some reward, like, they do it even better, right? So referral programs can be really powerful for getting free users at the end of the day, because you just need maybe to offer some benefits, some discounts, something that you would probably offer anyway, and then you can get users to be promoters of your app. Of course, like, we should start from the ones that are from the users that are really in love with your product, but then you can also extend the referral program to everyone if the referral program is good, right? If you know that in your app there is a moment where the users feel very happy about the experience, that's the moment when you should ask them to refer you. For example, I'm thinking, like, on a dating app, when you have a match, you feel happy. So I say, hey, you see, you got a match, invite your friends, these kind of things. But like, there are, I don't know, for a delivery app, when you receive your order, the user would probably be happy, and then it's the time that you should ask for referral. So it's complex and needs to be, of course, based on analysis of your data, but it's super powerful. So I would do it.
Got it. Do you have like any other general advice, or like what works best? What like the less effort and the most gain, if you can give such advice for mobile developers?
For mobile developers, it's a big spectrum of activities. I think also to reconnect with what we start with user onboarding, what we always suggest and what we have tested with our partners that is working very well, it's a simple thing that is called pre-authorization screens. I mean, the usage of pre-authorization screen in the permissions request. I was mentioning it before with the ATT request, but it's for all the requests, right? For the push notification opt-ins, for any kind of thing that you request the user to do. This is a simple thing to do. With a CRM tool, you can implement just a screen before asking for the real permission, where you explain basically the reason why the user should do this action. In the specific case of push notification opt-in, for example, this is again, sometimes we see many app developers that they're just showing the prompt directly, opt-in for push notification, without giving any context. Instead, if you use like a pre-authorization screen, there you can say, hey, like now we're going to request permission to send you push notification. This will allow you to receive offer, to be informed about your favorite topics, to do this and that. Do you want to do it or not? And then you have two buttons, yes or not. If they say yes, then you can show the official prompt. If they say no, you can just wait for another time, because you get one shot, right, to show the push notification of the official prompt. So again, I think it is a simple thing to do. And we saw with many clients, with many partners, that it's increasing the opt-in rates very much.
Got it. Listen, Lorenzo, I want to be mindful of your time. Thanks a lot for sharing the expertise. How our listeners can find you online? Are you on Twitter, on LinkedIn? What's the best way to connect?
They can find me on LinkedIn, Lorenzo Rossi. I'm working for Replag. And they can find me on Twitter, but my handle is stupid. I chose it when I was like 16, so no.
I think you can edit it. I'm not sure, but I think you can edit it.
I should ask Elon Musk. I know, maybe I need to pay for it. I will check.
Okay, got it. And you are based in Berlin, right? So
I am based in Berlin. I'm based in Berlin. So if you guys, if the people that are listening are in Berlin, we can connect and we can catch up for a coffee.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much, Lorenzo.
Thank you, Michael. It was a pleasure chatting with you.